Hello, this is Helane Lipson with your March 2013 astrological forecast. On March 20th, the Sun enters Aries, so happy birthday to all of my Aries friends. March 20th is the vernal equinox, and coming off the winter equinox, which was December 21st, 2012, this extremely powerful vernal equinox is seen by many as the true birth of a new consciousness. While the Sun is in Aries, it's a time when all of us have the opportunity for new beginnings. The Aries energy manifests in assertiveness, courage, risk-taking, directness, initiative, increased sex drive, and a pioneering spirit. Decisive action can come more easily now, but then, like the fiery sign of Aries, so can anger and conflict. All in all, this is a good time to initiate new projects and activities and move old projects forward, taking advantage of the courage that's in the air now. Perfect timing, too, as Mercury, which has been retrograde, moved back into direct motion on March 17th. So clear, concise communication is definitely a plus now. Besides the Sun in Aries, several other planets have made or are making their way into Aries as well. Uranus entered Aries on March 11th, 2011, but now its energy is felt strongly with the stellium or cluster of planets now in Aries. The urge to start fresh, break free from restrictive attitudes or circumstances, to totally redesign an area of our lives or even our personalities, and to gain freedom through independence is strong now with Uranus in Aries. This is a huge shift of energy that will be felt in many ways, personally and globally. On March 22nd, Venus also enters Aries, which will again highlight our independence and ability to express ourselves to others. Sitting on the fence in love relationships is not really an option with this aspect, which will highlight the areas of relationship which are stuck or uninspiring. But all in all, influences around the end of this month may bring positive experiences. On March 28th, the full moon in romantic Libra may light a fire under any relationship. This is a great time to try out new experiences and even enjoy a new love. For more information about how these transits affect you specifically, come visit my website, www.insightsbyhelane.com. And now, here's Ask Inelia.
Hello, and welcome to Ask Inelia. I'm your host, Helane Lipson. For those of you not yet familiar with Inelia Benz, she's a teacher, a spiritual catalyst, and her mission is to raise the vibration of the planet. For over 2 months now, people have been writing in with questions on various topics. Today, we'll focus on love, sex, and relationships. For those of you interested in learning more about Inelia Benz, you can visit her website at www.ascension101.com. And now, let's ask Inelia. Welcome, Inelia. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me back.
Oh, I love talking to you. This is a great show. And today we're going to be focusing on relationships. Relationships, partnerships, love, sex. So many viewers have written in with questions about what the ultimate 5D relationship would look like, and so much more. So are you ready for the first question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This one is from Miranda. And straight to the point, she asks, how can I find my soulmate?
Okay. The first thing that you have to realize is that every single human being on the planet, no matter what shade of color they are, whether they're light workers or dark workers or in nothing, whether it's somebody homeless in the street or someone who is enlightened, It doesn't matter. Every single being on this planet is your soulmate.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, of course, the illusion of separation and division and resonance come in. Now, what you might be asking is, how do I find somebody who really resonates at my level, who I can work with without having to put masks on or defenses up? That's different, right?
Yeah, I think that's what you meant, though.
Right. And that, you see, comes from inside. First, you have to build that up and create it within you by yourself, with regards to yourself, with regards to your own body, and with regards to your own environment. Once you have that, then part of what happens on the planet, you will immediately attract individuals who resonate at that level too. And then you can choose and pick. There isn't the one. There isn't a soulmate. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is what you do.
Interesting. And a lot of people think that they're looking for just one person, like a needle in a haystack.
That's a program.
Yeah.
That's a socially programmed thing with all your, all the stories we heard as children, Cinderella, Snow White, and all those. Look at Snow White. She finally became independent. She went off into the woods and started living with 7 men. But no, it had to be the one, tall, handsome one, to come in and kiss her to wake her up again, right? And then live happily ever after. What about the other guys,
Well, we're told we have to kiss a lot of frogs before we find the right prince.
Exactly. So. That's the illusion. Yeah. That's the program. It's not about somebody out there. It's about you. It's about what's inside of you. And then, from that place of empowerment, you can go out and choose someone to share that empowerment with, and who has that empowerment also, who wants to share it with you. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a completely different way of seeing things.
Yeah, it is. Now, our next question, very interesting, from Susan from San Francisco, California. And she says, "Hi, Inelia. Thank you for all the wonderful work you do. My question is about my marriage. My husband and I are on completely different wavelengths. As I continue to evolve spiritually and ascend, he seems to understand me less and less. We do very little together anymore since I do not watch television, and I try to avoid him ranting and raving about all the people he blames for his problems at work. We have 2 young children, so leaving him right now is not an option. What can I do to stay happy as we are living under the same roof together?"
Leave him. The rest is all stories. The rest are all stories, and they're based on fear. Yeah, you have 2 young children, and you think, all these social programs and your fears, how am I going to feed them? Perhaps you're financially dependent on this person. Well, you work it out. Yeah, you work through your fears of poverty and lack. You work through your fears of losing your kids. You work through your fears of thinking that the kids need a mother and a father and a family unit, and that's better for them than living with a crazy person. You work through all of those fears, right? And then you also go into a space already, into a space of joy, light, love. You have to be in that space from the inside out. And you project that consent to say, my environment is light, love, and joy. Yeah? And that's the only thing you consent to. And you don't consent to anything or anybody bringing or trying to lower your vibration or bringing lower vibrations into your own field. And you know this. It's not I'm asking for to an external power. You don't enter into a field of it. You are it. And you exude it. Sooner or later, right? Once you start working and living from that space, that situation will either morph very, very quickly into one that is also in that space. So that person, your husband, will go into that space also. Or he will leave. Yeah? Or you will have to leave. Everything else are stories, and everything else is probably based on fear. So, yeah, you have to move and step into your own empowerment here.
Wow, I'm blown away by the answer, okay? I didn't expect that to come out of your mouth. I really didn't expect you to say, leave him, just like that. I mean, I imagine you're right, because that old paradigm of feeling powerless, well, I'm stuck here, I have no choice, I have no money, we have these children, is all part of the old paradigm.
Exactly. It's all part of the old paradigm.
I mean, and I'm going to tell you, I really feel like when I saw this question, so many people can relate to this. So many people are just staying in unhappy relationships because they're afraid that they wouldn't be able to survive monetarily. Young children, you need help from another person. It's in childcare, so it's like. I mean, I can see a lot of people relating to this. Wow, what an answer. That was really interesting. Our next question is also very interesting. It's from Jesus. And he says, hello, Inelia. I have an addiction with sex, and I keep thinking thoughts on the sex subject. Then I feel guilty because I know it's wrong. Are there any suggestions to help me deal with this problem?
The first thing you have to realize is that it's not wrong, okay? The other is that you probably have a very active lower and lower. The first and second chakras is the lower ones, right? The ones in the sexual areas.
Yeah, the sacral chakra.
The sacral chakra, that's right. And so therefore, what society teaches us, when we have any attention in that area, when we have any type of energy in that area, what society teaches us is it's about sex. You have to have sex, you have to have satisfaction, you have to touch somebody else, connect at a sexual level and all that stuff. That's all a program, yeah? It's all about energy. That energy that you're feeling and that you're interpreting as sexual desires is in fact your energy, yeah, your chi, your power. Now, what you can do is allow it to expand and become huge and allow it to express, but without taking any action on the physical. So you don't masturbate, you don't have sexual pleasure with another person, you don't touch, it's like you allow the energies to flourish and move, yeah? The other thing you can go and explore is tantric sex, because this will give you a healthy way to use this attention and energy field in a way that allows you and your partner or partners to really fully expand and heal that area of your life, yeah? And also because, you said a sexual addict, and addiction is always harmful because it's doing too much of something, right? And maybe picking up unhealthy habits and things like that. Have a look and see and process your fear around sex. Fear of sex, fear of sexual energies, fear of feeling desires, fear of feeling desires to inappropriate situations or people or objects or whatever. Process all those fears and also process the energy of fear within your physical body, yeah? So really connect with your physical body and process and get in touch with your physical body. There's a whole there's 2 units about the physical body and how to reconnect with the physical body on the Ascension 101 course. So do those 2 units over and over again. Do them for 21 days to reconnect with your physical body so that your physical body can be your partner in this work, yeah? So you're working with your physical body and dealing with the addiction together.
Interesting. Good answer. Here's another question, and here's another question, and this is from Stephen, and he writes, I was on the Bridging Heaven and Earth show a few years ago. I would have loved to meet you on the set. My question for you, in this lifetime, I chose to be a deaf, gay man. Why would I have chosen to be deaf and gay in this lifetime?
Well, why do we choose to be anything or to have any type of differences that might give us challenges in life? Yeah. Why do we do that? Because the person or the soul wants to have that experience, and there's really no other answer. Yeah. It could be, we could interpret it as saying, well, it's a learning, but how can an eternally divine, all-knowing source being need learning? Yeah, you don't really. So why do you choose it? Maybe it's to connect and have connections with other individuals who are going through those type of situations. Or maybe it's because it's a very experienced field of things that you can do through life. Yeah. What may be a negative side is that society makes it really hard for somebody who's homosexual, and also makes it really hard for someone who's deaf. Yeah. Even this interview, for example, you're gonna have a really hard time, finding out the answer, because we might not have captions. We might have to add the captions to this bit of video of this question answer, so you can see what was being responded, right? So yeah, it's the technology and everything is really hard going for somebody who can't hear as well.
That's a good point with the captions.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Because if society was really looking out for our deaf population,
or for any type of population that doesn't have all our capacities, right?
They would have, but it's not. So that's interesting.
It's not. Yeah.
Why does anybody choose anything? That's
right. Why did you choose to have brown hair?
Yeah. So that's. Now the next question is intense. Let's see what you think of this. This is from Chloe from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And she says, "Hi, Inelia. I believe I have a twin soul alive in physical form on Earth. I feel I know who he is, and I believe it with all my heart. This man is quite evolved spiritually, but does not seem to share this vision. When I asked him about having a twin soul on Earth, he told me he was a unified soul, meaning both parts of his twin soul fully merged into one unified soul. Could this be true, that one person could be two parts of a twin soul existing simultaneously in one body? And how could I feel so strongly that this person is my twin soul when they believe they're a unified soul?"
Okay, so again, everybody on the planet is your twin soul, right? That is a fact. Now, what you're feeling about this person could be because he's already gone through the illusion of separation, and he's no longer in that illusion. So he is everybody's soulmate. So anybody who resonates at his level or will see him as a high vibrational being will immediately mistakenly think this is my twin soul in a very exclusive way, yeah? But will be correct in the fact that that individual is everybody's soulmate. So yeah, twin soul or soulmate, yeah? I get this all the time. Individuals come in and say, I'm 1,000% sure that you're my soulmate. To me, yeah?
I'm sure.
And this is the answer. I don't have the illusion of separation. So I am, in a way, them. And that is what they feel. Because we are all of each other as one being, yeah? So when you're resonating, sometimes this other person might be the only person that you've met that resonates at a high vibration, higher than anybody else you know. So therefore, the mind and everything and your illusion of separation and exclusivity kick in. These are programs. What he's saying is, he's no longer a separate being. He's no longer in the illusion of being a singular entity, yeah? He's interpreting that, or maybe he's explained that as saying, my soul is integrated now. I don't have a split anymore. Yeah. So yeah, you're both correct.
So how do you become a unified soul? How do you become integrated?
You step away from the illusion of separation. I mean, you can say, well, how can anybody in the planet be my soulmate? How can everybody on the planet be my twin soul, right? Or my twin flame? But they are. And if you have any resistance to that statement, it means that you're still in the illusion of separation and still living in the dream, which was a created dream of the exclusive only one person paradigm.
So you'd become a unified soul by just changing your thoughts about this. I mean,
it's a knowing, yeah. Yeah, you can start from there, certainly. Yeah, you can start looking at your thoughts and saying, well, is this a program, right? And your emotions as well, and your wants and needs. Because you see, where you're coming from is a need. I need to find my soulmate. I need to be complete. Where does that need come from? It's an interpretation which has been corrupted, and it has been exploited by the old paradigm of a need or a drive to connect back to source, yeah? Mm-hmm. To be unified, to become complete. And that completeness only happens in source. The twin flame or the meeting and joining with another is just a stepping stone, or it's just an illusionary temporary thing, yeah? Yeah. But it's once you move away from that separation illusion that you can really be yourself. And you will never, once you reach that point that you realize you are source, you are everybody, you will never be alone again. You will never feel alone again.
So what are the two pieces? What are the two pieces that are integrating? Like when you say a twin soul and then you've integrated both parts to become unified, is it the masculine and the feminine? Is it
yeah, it could be any illusion of separation. Any illusion of separation. When you stop having an illusion of separation, you have unified the two parts.
Or your emotional body and your physical body?
For example, that could be a unification, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I told you that was an intense question, but that shed some light on it, so thank you. And our next question is coming from Deborah. And Deborah asks, she says, hello, Inelia. I'd really like to know your take on bisexuality. I've been ashamed all my life, and I'm now feeling that maybe it's not such a bad thing. Nothing is worth beating myself up over, right? But I'd really appreciate some advice. I was in an ashram a few years ago, and my guru had explained how homosexuality was a residue from Atlantean days and no longer had its place and actually delays your evolution. Do you feel this is true? I think a lot of people would be interested in this topic coming from you. Thank you so much.
Homosexuality, bisexuality, and asexuality, which also exists, that means people who are not sexually attracted to either sex. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't want or like sex. It's just that they're not attracted to either of the sexes. Mm-hmm. All three configurations are correct, and they are all to do with joining at an energetic, physical level, have nothing to do with right or wrong. Yeah, none of them are wrong, basically. Okay. And they're all natural. They're all have existed and will continue to exist for as long as there's humanity. The separation of the sexes was a artificially created genetic manipulation type thing that happened, or even if you think of it in terms of evolution, an evolutionary kind of morphing that happened. And if you look at nature, you will see that there are many thousands upon thousands of beings, whether plants, animals, one-cell creatures, who are all of these things, sometimes at the same time, sometimes exclusively. Some of them don't have sexes, so they split in order to reproduce, the amoeba, for example, and certain trees and plants and Also, there's some, for example, I know there's a type of frog, I think, that when there's too many of one of the sexes in the pond, some of them, adults, morph into the opposite sex in order for them to procreate, right? And yeah, so there's examples of all these type of things, and any type of morality or right or wrong about where or with whom a human being will meet and have pleasure with at a sexual level, or even live with and build a relationship with, is all created by society. It has no basis in nature. It has no basis in right or wrong. It has no basis in your personal evolution. It's completely irrelevant to your personal evolution. So I guess I wouldn't agree with your guru.
Yeah. So this Atlantean residue, that's not something you'd agree with.
It doesn't resonate with me.
Okay. So it was just somebody that was sharing his own fearful ideas, perhaps.
I wouldn't be able to resonate with that either. I mean, it's what he believes is true, and it must be true for him, you know. And I can't really judge it because I don't know the person or where he's coming from. So, yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting. Now here's another interesting question from Alex, and she asks, "Dear Inelia, if we want to meet the love of our life, can we meet them by visualizing? I have been daydreaming about the kind of man I want, very detailed. I almost feel him physically, but I am still single. So my question, to sum it up, how can we manifest love, romance, relationship, marriage, kids, and all those things people dream of? Thank you for your answer. P.S. You are a marvelous woman."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Take my course, the Love, Sex, and Relationship, Soulmates in the New Paradigm course. Kidding.
Actually, I'd love to hear some. Maybe you can share some information about the course that you have, and then I'd like the answer to this question.
Yeah, basically it's going to do with all these questions, right? At a very, very useful level, how to manifest stuff or how to look at, where the blocks and things. And we're going to be discovering new information because all this information is coming brand new and it's going to be really dependent on the individuals who are going to be there. But to answer your question, you're manifesting a need. So you will always manifest need. You can't meet your perfect partner in your life if you have a need. Energy within that manifestation tool that you're using, and you're using all the right tools, right? And I'm hoping that when you're really nearly there touching this person, you're in a place of joy, like love, yeah? If you feel extremely joyful, that's what and then you release it. Because that's the key here. You're going to the whole situation in your mind, you daydream it, you're going to that place of absolute joy, light, love, and then you release the situation, yeah? You release it because it's not necessary anymore. You've had it. You already have it. So, and there's the resistance, you see, because when you go there and you go, oh my gosh, but if I release it, I will never have it. So that's one of the key components of the catch-22 situation. You need to release the need for the dream in order to have the dream. But when you have the dream, you don't longer care whether you have it or not. Yeah?
Yeah. Well,
so it's like, it's hard.
That's what you're looking for. You're seeking. You're almost pushing it away because you're needing it. And that's the main idea.
The energy of need. You're manifesting the energy of need. So you manifest need. In order to manifest need, you mustn't have what you need.
Interesting. But if you're already that, if you have that loving feeling in your heart, if you're joyous every day, if you're feeling so loving and love spills out of you,
and you're loved,
and it comes, then the love would be naturally attracted to you.
Right.
So that's
nice. Because you don't need it.
Now, I do have one last question, and I know we're running out of time, but I do have one last question, and this is like kind of a clarification question, really with terminology. And it says, "Dear Inelia and Helane, I would like to thank you for all the information you are sharing. My question is, are karmic relationships And twin flames, the same thing. And honestly, Inelia, I think people are very confused with this terminology: twin flame, soulmate, karmic relationship. And she says, can you explain a bit more about these concepts?
Right. The karmic cycle was something that was being played with and necessary, I suppose, in the old paradigm. Yeah. So you would have karmic relationships with individuals where, a karmic thing is like a trap, like a cycle that you can't get out of because you can't see it. Yeah. If you can't see something, how can you get out of it? You can't. Then when in this new paradigm, because we're expanding on our awareness through raising our personal vibration, you're able to see stuff. You're able to see more. Therefore, once you see a cycle that you're stuck in, like a broken record, you can simply have the intention and have the action of stepping away. Yes. So basically, karma is no longer needed or necessary. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why there's so many teachers out there saying karma has ended. There's no longer any karmic stuff and all this type of thing. This is what it's reflecting: the fact that it's no longer needed. It's not a game we want to play anymore. So, that would be karmic relationships. Now, twin souls and twin flames and soulmates, oh gosh, there's so many definitions out there. My suggestion would be to look for the definition that really resonates with you of each one and then stick to that. Because, it's like, it could mean all sorts of things. But it's all part of the illusion of separation. Yeah? So, yeah. Do you want to step into separation or do you want to step into oneness?
Interesting. So it doesn't matter what you're calling it.
Not really.
A soul match, a soulmate, a twin flame. Interesting.
Right.
It's just that we're looking at, and on a closing note about love and relationships, about 5D love relationships as we close out this program today. Inelia, do you have anything that you wish to share?
Yes. One of the things that you could start right now, because the 5D is something we are creating in every single moment of our lives. One of the things that you can do right now for the next 21 days is have no secrets. If you have any secrets, release them. Release all your secrets. There is no privacy in the 5D. Yeah? It cannot be, because we're all one and we're all united. You will have access, or you do have access now, actually. You're just pretending that you don't, but you actually do have access to everybody's memories and everybody's thoughts at every moment of every day. So think about that. Think about the way that you think, the things that you do. If you don't want somebody else to find out about it, then have a look in there and process that energy, because there's something there that's blocking you from being united, from being complete. So I would say the best thing you can do for relationships of all types is start looking and seeing and watching, and that's part of the intention behind your thoughts and your actions as well. Yeah. How would I feel if somebody else read this? How would I feel when you send an email, for example, or a text? How would I feel if this became public? Yeah. How would I feel if some such and such found out that I wrote this about them? And then work from a standpoint of thinking and knowing that that's going to happen. I know that such and such person is going to read this. So if you're communicating to somebody else about this other person, what would you say? Would the words change? Yeah. And if you're talking about your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend to somebody else, talk to them as though the person was in the room. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And with every type of relationship, talk to other people as though, if you go home, you're tired, you had a horrible day, you go home to your partner, your husband and your wife, and then you want to talk about and give all sorts of things about all these individuals. Well, pretend that they're in the room. Yeah? And then communicate about them as though they were in the room. You'll see that your energy will change dramatically. And then have a look at the intention about the communication. Well, I'm communicating to my husband or my wife about Johnny at work or Mr. Smith to bring in the matrix. What is my intention? Do I just want to spill bad vibrations everywhere? Do I want to share it so that because it helps me to process it? What do I want to do here? Or do I, so imagine that Johnny or Mr. Smith is in the room and then start talking to your husband about them. So I really feel instead of, that B, whatever F person, did this and that, and then that caused this and this to me, and I hate blah, blah, blah. Well, how would it change, Well, I really feel that if Mr. Smith had taken or responded in this way rather than that way, our work situation would have been much better. Do you see the change in energy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That would be, for the next 21 days.
This is where you talk about being impeccable with your word and being impeccable with your action. And that is basically a perfect description of what you say in so many of your articles, on your website, and so many of your interviews. And
yes.
I think it's beautiful advice.
21 days.
Thank you so much for another excellent Ask Inelia. Till next time, Inelia. Namaste.